Lion fans, holla if you hear me.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Dennis Roland Show, sponsored by your friendly folks over at North Oaks Health System here in Hammond, just off of Veterans Boulevard. I'm your host, Mark Verbois, alongside new Lions head coach, Coach Dennis Roland. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
Coming up in this next half hour, we're going to take a look at the upcoming 2005 season. We're going to look at the new faces on the coaching staff, and we're also going to check out our new quarterback, Trey Willie. And this week's show also, we're going to take a look at the player profile with senior wide receiver Hutch Gonzalez and how he's preparing for the upcoming season. But first, I want to take a few minutes and sit here and talk to Coach Roland. Coach, definitely has to be good to be back here in Hammond.
I'm really excited to be back. It seems like yesterday that we arrived back. I think it was the Tuesday after Martin Luther King holiday, and there's been a lot of work that's taken place since then. Our assistant coaches and players have been working really hard, and I'm just thankful and happy to be back and be part of this university and part of this community.
Well, Coach, I know a lot of fans are familiar that back in June you were diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and was going through some treatment. How's treatment going? How you been feeling these days?
Well, it's certainly not a cakewalk, but I've been very blessed. I think through a lot of prayers and encouragement and support from my friends in the community, and good treatment I'm receiving locally. We're taking it one day at a time, and so far the results look very positive.
Okay, I know our thoughts and prayers and the fans around are with you. Let's take a look at, back here in January, you're the 13th coach here named at Southeastern. And how's your transformation been, transforming, coming back here to Southeastern?
I think I'm blessed that I was here the first year, part of the ground laying, part of the building program under Coach Mummy and with Woody and all the staff that we had here then. And I'm very thankful that I was a part of that. And I think it's helped make the transition much smoother. The players have responded. I think certainly all the ones that were here knew me, and I either recruited a lot of them or coached a lot of them, and they've been very fair and very open to me, and the new staff that I brought in. And I think in many ways it's helped transcend that new coaching staff coming into a program that sometimes takes 2 or 3 years to overcome.
Well, as you look at the 2005 team, what really excites you about these guys? How do you feel about the team?
I've said from day one that I think we've got a lot of character on the team. Now with that, I mean, we still are a young football team and a young program, and that we're only going into our 3rd year. And there are very few of these players that have actually been here for all starting the 3rd year. A lot of them came in last year, but there's a lot of character, there's a lot of talent. We're getting ready to go into this conference, and conceivably the toughest 1AA conference in the country. But I feel good about them. The guys have worked hard. We still got room to improve in those areas, but the character I think is going to carry us through some of those tough times.
Well, I know back in midway through the fall practice, the guys got to get out, put some pads on, actually go out and hit each other. At that point, how did they look? Well,
I can tell you right now, we've reached a point where they're tired of hitting each other and they're tired of practice. It was pretty hot out there, and it continues to be hot. And we've battled through the heat, and we've battled through that hitting. And I think we've probably taken it up a little bit, a notch, in terms of being a little bit more physical maybe than we were the last 2 years. And that's just philosophy. My philosophy, you got to find a way to have them ready, but yet you don't want to leave them on the sideline injured. They don't do us any good if they're standing over there with Doc drinking water and bandaged up. So you got to find that right balance. But I know this: they're tired of hitting each other, and I really think come game time they'll be ready to go out and play against another opponent.
Well, Coach, let's see what you're talking about here in the first half highlights. They're going to be sponsored by the Caboose here in Hammond, also with location out in Independence. Coach, you like the Caboose, I'm sure.
I do. I like my friend Lloyd over there, and I definitely like his food. They do a great job. They've been very open to us, and we appreciate their support.
Definitely some of the best steaks around. Let's take a look at those first half highlights.
Well, it was the end of about 10 or 11 days of hot practice, and I wasn't exactly excited about the way we came out with intensity, but we hit a quick pass there and moved the sticks, and then we hand off up the middle to one of our running backs, and real good hold there by Donald Usry and Johnny Flowers and Earl Cage, and then we come back and do a little play action and end up hitting Robbie Skates. And I tell you, Robbie's always going to get some extra yardage. He fights for it. Here we go, just a little pass out in the flat. This is one of our young freshmen catching a football, and real proud of him. He's taking it to the end zone. And this is Seth Babin, doesn't see what he likes, and he eventually pumps and hits another freshman receiver, Mohammed there, who's a big old 6'3", 6'4" receiver who's got a lot of potential for the future as well. Now we're back with Trey under him, and he's going to do a little pump and hit Jamal Jackson for a quick score. And Jamal's a guy who is going to be a senior coming off an injury who we're counting on big things for him, and he's a big play guy, and it's good to have him because he can play a lot of positions for us. This is Sam Savoy, a freshman running back that I brought with me from North Gwinnett, and I think everybody in Hammond, the seniors practice, and all our players have learned why I brought him. He's Mr. Intensity, really tough kid, catches the football, and he's gained a lot of respect. And pound for pound, he gets a lot out of his body there. And this is Blake Alfordish, and Blake has had a good training campus. Saw some good holes opened up there by Spencer and Blazovic and our backup Barty, our backup line. And here we just ramming it in, learning how to try to fight for that extra yardage and getting us a score down there. That's our second team offense, putting it in the end zone.
All right, Coach, about a week later we had Fan Day. We looked at the first scrimmage, and Trey Willie and the first team offense looked really good, but in the second scrimmage looked spectacular. How the offense, you think they performed as they ran up some points in the second scrimmage?
Well, I think overall both our offense and our defensive first teams separated themselves a little bit, and I was glad to see that. We've got some depth on this team, but I thought from the get-go, I thought we came out number one and we came out and played hard right off the bat, and that's something we had talked about, remember, after our first scrimmage. And then secondly, I thought there was some separation between the ones and twos, and primarily in some key spots. But offensively, we saw some good things. Our running backs ran the ball really hard. Our offensive line, I think, probably is a little bit ahead of schedule, and certainly with plenty of work to get done there too.
Okay, let's take a look at those second half highlights. They're going to be brought to you by the Hammond Nursing Home located at 501 Old Covington Highway right here in Hammond.
This is a good opportunity for us to work on coming off the goal line, and you never know how you're going to respond to those situations, but Trey finds Hutch on a little quick pass here and gets us some really positive yardage out to about the 40-yard line, and that was a big play. And coming off that goal line is really important, and this ends up being about a 99-yard drive. Hutch hits Gerald Watson here on a little swing pass, and Gerald shows what he's capable of doing. We got some good blocking downfield by some of our linemen there. Good snap by Donald, and Trey's going to hit Josh Taylor there on a touchdown. And this, like I said, this ended up being a 99-yard drive, so I was real pleased that we had a chance to do that and had a chance to get it in the end zone there. Going to just hand off to Mario Gilbert, and he does a good job following his blockers, Terrell Howard and Johnny Flowers, and just a real good job by our lineman right there. And Trey's going to set his feet, be real patient, see a good move here by Felton Huggins, and he just makes a good move on the cornerback there. Now we're going to come back and hand it off again to Mario, and good block, and you saw that hole again, Donald Ussery and Johnny Flowers and Terrell Howard there on the left side. And now we're back in the shotgun again, and going to hit Josh Taylor on a little swing pass underneath. And of course, you know Josh is going to really try to fight for that extra yardage. We got to make sure he knows when the journey's over.
All right, Coach, that was the second half highlights. It was brought to you by the Hammond Nursing Home right here in Hammond. Coach, what impression did you get from that second scrimmage?
Well, I was pleased, number one, we came out of it without any major injuries. And number two, glad to get that part of training camp behind us now and to get into some kind of a game week action. But there's still a few things we're going to work on the next 3 or 4 days to get us ready for our opener. But I think we've made a lot of progress, and I think overall we had a great training camp.
All right, Coach, we're going to take a look at your new staff. We have 10 new faces on the sideline this season. Each of them have their own responsibilities, especially the new offensive and defensive coordinators. Let's take a look. When Dennis Roland took over as head coach, there were no holdovers in the assistant coach ranks from the 2014. In most situations, that would be a problem, but not here. Coach Roland relied on his many years in football and called upon some old friends to help him out.
I don't think I could have any finer coordinators. If you could see these guys coaching on the field, 3 hours out there at their age, and I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. And I should say our age, not their age, our age.
With age comes wisdom, and football wisdom is certainly something this staff has. New offensive coordinator Scott Highsmith brings 30 years of football experience to the table. Highsmith comes to Southeastern from Belhaven College, where he ran the air raid offense, which he learned while coaching with former Lion head coach Hal Mumme. While at Belhaven, Highsmith's 2002 team led the nation in offense, as the Blazers threw for over 4,200 yards and 30 TDs. And Lions fans can expect much of the same out of this year's offense, with a few added wrinkles.
I think it's going to be real similar to what they've been seeing. It's the air raid offense. Coach Mumme and I coached at Kentucky, and there's several cousins out there, you know, Texas Tech's running the air raid, Valdosta, Southeastern, New Mexico State, several high schools. Everybody tweaks it to their own liking and takes advantage of their own personnel situations and their own personal philosophy. It'll be very similar. We're going to throw the football, but we'd like to be a little bit more physical too. We believe in the run game, and we'll air it out. I promise you that.
Yes, there are a few changes on offense, and one has to expect that on defense too, right? Wrong. The Southeastern defense has gone through a major rebuild, with the idea of being a lot faster and physical and swarming to the ball at all times.
In years past, they were more of a reading style up front, where we're going to be more of an attacking style with our defensive linemen. We're going to get them in three-point stances, looking at the football. When that ball twitches, get up the field, use your athletic ability. I think the D linemen really like that.
Lions will add another down lineman to the mix and take away a linebacker, and will run what is known as the 4-3 defense instead of the 3-4. This will allow players to use their athletic ability instead of sitting back and waiting to see what the opposing offense is going to do.
We got to break those habits that they had of that two-gap mentality and teach those guys, hey, you're allowed to get up the field. Please get up the field. Use your athletic ability to make plays.
On defense, the Lions also welcome in defensive line coach Matt Webb from Southeast Missouri State and linebackers coach Tony Hatmaker, who comes from Southwestern Baptist. The defensive ends will be coached by Patrick Garvin, who last coached at Sanford, and the defensive backs will be coached by Johnny Barnes, who joins the Lions after serving 2 years in the Army. On the offensive side of the ball, the Lions welcome Mike Scott as offensive line coach. Scott comes to Southeastern from the University of West Georgia, where 3 times last year his offense topped the 500-yard mark in one game. Tyrone Williams will coach the running backs as he joins Southeastern from Mars Hill College. Williams played for Coach Roland at Middle Georgia College. Kyle Richardson joins Roland in the move from Georgia to Southeastern, as he helped coach the Gwinnett High School team with Roland. The Lions welcome back an old face to coach the tight ends as Ben Barnes takes over that role. Barnes was a senior on the 2003 Lions team and served last year as a graduate assistant. Coach Roland also welcomed strength and conditioning coach Matt Moore to the fold. Coach Moore comes to Hammond from the University of Houston, where he was the assistant strength and conditioning coach. But for all off-the-field changes, the mission on the field is still the same. Okay, Coach, looks like you have a great staff there.
Hey, it's a great staff entirely. I was very fortunate that I had a chance to hire everyone. And all of these guys have either worked for me or played for me, or I've known them for a long time. And I can guarantee you they're speaking with one voice. They're on the same page. They're coaching hard. They're going to treat young men right. And I think our community and our university are going to be proud of the way they represent us.
Let's take a look now at the 2005 schedule. A schedule which includes Tulane, Northern Colorado, 2 SWAC schools, and 6 Southland Conference games. It's been 20 years since the Lions played a conference schedule, and the Southland Conference is about as tough as they come in 1AA. How do the Lions stack up against conference foes? Well, Jason Shane recently met with them at Southland Conference Media Day. Let's take a look.
The 2005 season brings new challenges to the Southeastern football program as the Lions join the elite Southland Conference on a full-time basis. The Lions become the 7th member of an already strong football conference, but as we found out at Southland Conference Media Day, coaches are excited about the expansion of the conference.
Back from whenever I was at McNeese, they were in the conference, so it's great to see the Lions come back. I think it's great for our league. I think it adds another team to the league, and I think it's a great situation as far as travel back and forth between the Louisiana and Texas schools. So it's exciting to have them in there, and we're looking forward to it.
Southeastern was a great addition to this conference, very welcomed. They are going to be a factor in this conference. It's a great recruiting area. It's good football. People take their football serious in that area. We recruit that area very hard, and we've had some success getting very good athletes from that area. But Southeastern will be a factor in this conference from years to come, and they were a very good addition to this football team and are very welcome.
Current competition in the Southland Conference include McNeese State, Northwestern State, the Bobcats of Sam Houston State, Stephen F. Austin, Texas State, and former Southeastern rival from back in the day, Nicholls State. The Lions finished the 1985 season with a loss to the Nicholls State Colonels, and after that defeat, Southeastern eliminated its football program before bringing it back in 2003. And despite the long delay, it's apparent that both schools are excited about getting that rivalry going again.
Well, I think it's great. I think it's awesome. Like you said, Nicholls and Southeastern had a huge rivalry way back. We look to renew that, and I think it's going to be a very competitive game. And Coach Roland and his staff are certainly going to do a great job there.
We got to go in there. I mean, we kind of got a feel from the first 2 seasons that you can't take off 1 week in the Southland. You know, you got to come with it every game. And I feel like from us playing those 3 games last year, I mean, we kind of got a good picture about what we have to do.
The Southland Conference, in its 4th decade of existence, stands prestigious and ranks among the best in Division I AA leagues in the nation. The 2005 Southland Conference preseason polls show Southeastern ranked last by head coaches and last by sports information directors. Even with the apparent lack of respect in the polls, one thing is true. The coaches in this league know that on any given Saturday, any team in the conference can beat another.
The Southern Conference, and the conference I came from, it's very even from top to bottom, so you really do have to play one game at a time. If you ever show up on Saturday and you don't give it your best effort, you're going to get beat. It doesn't matter where you are in this league. There is not a bad football team represented here today. So therefore, you do have to get your guys in the right frame of mind every Saturday.
First of all, I think people in the conference are glad to see Southeastern in. I think we add something to the conference. I think another good 1AA team adds to the conference. And so I feel good about the way people have received us. I think there's respect there. I think they respect the fact that the way McNeese was beaten last year by our team. Texas State went into overtime. But we got work to do. And it's a great conference. But I'm going to tell you something. I think we got a chance to be a great team as well.
Southeastern opens conference play on October 8th as Texas State brings its well-balanced, multiple-spread offense to Hammond to face the Lions. Last season, Southeastern traveled to Texas State and lost the double overtime heartbreaker to the Bobcats, 31-28. It was a game that first-year Bobcat head coach David Bailiff saw as a miracle.
There was a fumble when Southeast was going in to score that was caused by God or Jim Wacker. The guy was untouched, and I don't remember his name, and the ball just came out, and really we scooped it up and actually got the ball and kicked a field goal on third down when we went the other way with it. That's one of those things in football where you go back and you just keep running that play back, and he's untouched, and just the ball happened to come out. That's what, that was the miracle in San Marcos.
After opening conference play at home, the Lions then hit the road as they traveled to Natchitoches to face the Demons from Northwestern State. The last time Southeastern traveled to Northwestern State, the Lions were treated to an 87-27 beating that had some of the Lions faithful in awe of what was to come in the Southland Conference. But Demon head coach Scott Stoker knows that what happened when the two teams met back in 2003 was a fluke and will probably never happen again.
No, I don't think anything like that will ever happen again as long as I live in there. It was just one of those nights where everything kind of went our way and the balls kept bouncing to us defensively. And, I think we had 5 defensive scores in there, and 4 of those were in the second half. It's just one of those things that just got out of control, and you hope something like that would never happen.
If the 2003 Northwestern game was the low light of the return of football at Southeastern, then the 2004 game at McNeese State was the highlight. This season, the Lions welcomed the Cowboys into Strawberry Stadium for an October 22nd game, which promises to be a good one. Last year, the Lions traveled to Lake Charles, and despite being down early, went on a tear and soundly beat McNeese State 51-17.
Southeastern coming into Cowboy Stadium, and we were playing with a lot of confidence at that time, coming off of a road win at Southern. Southern is a very good home team. Southeastern comes in. We take the first possession, drive it down, score, take the second possession, getting ready to go up 14-0. We got it second and goal on the 2-yard line. We throw an interception and turn the whole game around. After McNeese State, the Lions traveled to Texas for the first time this season as they faced the Lumberjacks from Stephen F. Austin. Last season, the Lumberjacks finished with a 6-5 overall record. Southeastern continues conference play against Sam Houston State on November 5th in Huntsville, Texas, before traveling back home to renew that old rivalry against Nichols State.
Southeastern is working hard to achieve success in the Southland Conference and regain the legacy once fiercely dominated by Lions. Fans can look forward to the inaugural Southland Conference game versus Texas State on October 8th, a game that'll show us what is to come in the future for the Lions. Reporting from Lake Conroe, Texas, on Southland Conference Media Day, I'm Jason Shane.
Thank you, Jason. Coach, looks like a tough schedule with a lot of promising games for Lions fans. What can they look forward to?
Well, I think, first of all, it's going to be week in and week out a very tough schedule, and I think our fans are going to really feed off that a little bit. I know not taking anything away from the past 2 years, but I think now when people come to the ballpark, they know we're going to have our backs to the wall, and we got to really get off the bus ready to play. I think they'll be able to see our players accept the challenge week in and week out, and that's what we've been challenging our guys, is no matter who you're playing, you got to show up and have your A game with you every time.
All right, we saw in the second scrimmage a few minutes ago, Trey Willie hooked up with wide receiver Josh Taylor on a 23-yard pass right on the numbers, and that's our big play of the week. This week it's brought to you by State Representative Henry Tank Powell. Let's take a look at this week's big play of the week.
Yeah, we just big play of the week here. Of course, there were several big plays, but this play to Josh. Josh just has the ability to find the open area on the field, and Trey did a good job of threading that ball into him, and this kind of got us going and got a little pop in our step, and we hope we have a lot of big plays like that as the year goes by.
Good pitch and catch there between Trey Willie and Josh Taylor. And it's brought to you by State Representative Henry Tank Powell. I know he means a lot to the program, Coach. What does he bring to the program? How does he support us? And I know he's really excited about the upcoming season.
Yeah, he's one of our former players, and it's just encouraging to see him around and know he supports us. And we appreciate his support on this show and all he does for the program and the university.
Okay, Coach. Trey Willie plays a major role in the Lions offense. Let's check and see how he's handling his job this year. Shoney Francis files his report.
With fall practices wrapping up and their first game with Jacksonville around the corner, the Lions get set to start their first inaugural season in the Southland Conference. The Lions are slated to take on 6 conference opponents and 5 non-conference opponents as Trey Willie gets ready to take the helm at quarterback for the Lions this year.
He's got all the intangibles that you want in a starting quarterback. And I guarantee you I can sleep at night knowing that we've got him under center, and I think our team can as well. In fact, I'll tell you right now, 100% of our team is excited about him being the starting quarterback.
Now, Trey Willie, a native of Roland, Louisiana, started his career at Southeastern Louisiana University as a walk-on for former baseball coach Dan Canterbury. That spring, Trey tried out for the newly acquired football team, which was coached by Hal Mumme. Hal Mumme thought Trey would make a good receiver. Trey eventually returned to his natural position of quarterback, where he was the backup to Martin Hankins.
The way we do things in our system, the starting quarterback gets most of the reps, and that's probably true of most systems, but especially in our system. And what you saw from Trey in the past was probably about, last year he probably had 5% of the snaps in practice, maybe less than that, to be honest with you.
You know, last year I knew I probably wasn't going to get to play much, but I knew that I had to prepare because in football you never know what's going to happen. You know, a little twisted ankle there, you know, you could be the starter for the rest of the year. So I just prepared last year like I was going to be the starter and just try to work hard through practice and, you know, hopefully it would pay off.
Trey's hard work did pay off, as he also got the chance to build on some key relationships.
Some days when, in last spring, you know, some days when Martin Arms was tired, you know, Trey would stay out there. I mean, he didn't have to, you know, but he would stay out there all day, you know, threw as many balls as I wanted him to, you know. So, I mean, I feel like our relationship is just as strong as Martin. You know, you want to have a good relationship with all your quarterbacks, you know, because one can go down, you know what I'm saying? You got to be close with the other one, too. So, I feel like my relationship is good with Trey, too.
We've been working out this summer and stuff, and, you know, we've been working on small things, just trying to get our timing down. And because, I mean, we're totally different quarterbacks. So, you know, just trying to get the right, where to put the ball and what to do with it. And I think, you know, my relationship with the receivers is really good.
With Martin Hankins being a 4,000-yard passer in Hal Mumme's air raid offense, could we see another 4,000-yard passer out of Dennis Roland's offense?
Well, I mean, the stats, I'm really not worried about those much. I'm just, you know, want to get the wins, and that's the main thing. And, you know, I got an All-American receiver out there, and, you know, offensive line, you know, they're tough, and we got tons of receivers that are great, and our defense is probably even better than what they were last year. So I'm just going to rely on them, and I'm not really worried about the stats. If they come, they come. If not, as long as we win.
Trey not only looks to rack up the yards in the air, he also looks to rack the yards up on the ground as well.
At first, you know, I think they're going to be fooled because they're just going to think I'm like Martin, just going to stand back there and throw the ball. But no, I think the mobility thing is going to help out when we get in tight situations. You know, if I have to run around, make a play, or, you know, just keep the play alive and, you know, not get sacked.
As Trey gets ready to take the first snap on September 1st, he feels there's no added pressure.
They say good things come to those who are patient, but in Trey Willie's case, good things come to those who are prepared. For the Dennis Roland Show, I'm Shoney Francis.
Thank you, Shoney. Coach, what are your goals for Trey this year as he leads the team?
Well, you know, I just want Trey to relax and have fun while he's playing football. He's been on a journey, and I believe that success is a journey, and his has certainly been an interesting one. And I just want him to relax and do what he's capable of doing, which is be a great quarterback for us. And along the way, have fun and help our team have success.
All right, Coach, we're going to take a look each week, though, at a player profile on one guy you picked to lead this year's team. And this week, we're going to take a look at senior wide receiver Hutch Gonzalez. What does Hutch really bring to the team?
Well, he's a guy that's going to, you know, that when he shows up for practice or game, he's going to bring his A game. He's going to give all he's got. He's always got a smile on his face. He enjoys playing the game. And he's one of those guys that remind me a lot of myself. When the days are over and you can't play anymore, he's going to really miss it.
Hutch is a really good guy. All right, let's take a look at wide receiver Hutch Gonzalez in his own words in the student athlete profile, brought to you by the Subway sandwiches located here in the Student Union Mall. Remember, Subway, eat fresh.
Well, I think, you know, obviously I'd like to have the, you know, as much productivity catching the ball, and I'd like to have a little bit more yardage because a lot of times I think I average around 10 yards a catch. So the past 2 seasons, I'd like to have closer to 12 or 15, which would, you know, put me up over 600-700 yards. You know, more touchdowns, of course. I'd like to have more touchdowns, but, you know, that's just personally. I think for the team, just have a great season, winning season, you know, go into conference and really prove that we belong there. And I think we did last year, but really go in there and compete for a championship and, you know, show the Southland Conference that we belong there. We've made a few subtle changes, as Coach said, and, you know, we'll probably use the run game more effectively than we have in the past. Not that we'll use it so much more, but probably more effectively, you know, down by the goal line and in short yardage situations. You know, it's still a pass-happy offense, still the air raid. We're still going to throw the ball around a lot, have a lot of yards receiving and throwing, and lots of catches, so it'll be fun. I am majoring in sports management in the College of Nursing and Health Studies, and I'm going to graduate in the spring of '06.
All right, Coach, I know you appreciate Hutch Gonzalez as well as I know you're supporting Subway here on campus, as well as our other sponsors, including North Oaks. What does North Oaks and the other sponsors bring here?
Well, first of all, they help our program tremendously and helping us get this show off the ground and promote our football program, promote our players, just like Hutch Gonzalez here. And I can tell you, you know, and all our sponsors have been great. North Oaks, those people over there, and I spent 5 days over there back in May, and I can tell you, I'm not going to tell you it was a lot of fun, and but it was a positive experience because they worked really hard to make my stay there as successful as possible, and I'll forever be indebted to them.
Well, there you have it, Coach. Well, we took a look at this year's team as well as the opponents and introduced you to the new coaches. Well, now it's time to look at some football. The Lions open up Thursday, September 1st against Jacksonville University. Coach, Dolphins coming here to Hammond. Should be a fun game and a packed, loud Strawberry Stadium.
Well, I hope we pack it out. I hope we have a real standing room only crowd. I know a lot of people have been working very hard for that, and I know our players are looking forward to it. And you know, we just got to get ourselves ready to play a good Jacksonville team coming in here.
Okay. Now, Coach, Dolphins are a well-coached team, return 18 starters. What can you expect from the Dolphins this season?
Well, they're saying that they're going to have their best defense they've had in some time, and they've got some staff turnover. They have the same head coach, 18 starters back. You know that they're going to be hungry to come in here and revenge last year's loss to our team. But you know, I think they'll be well coached. Their kids play hard. We're impressed with them, and we know that we better bring our A game and get ready to play from the get-go.
Okay. Well, Coach, thanks for that scouting report. Each week's going to be brought to you by the LHC Group. Well, that'll do it for the first episode of the Dennis Roland Show. We'll be back here each and every week looking at the highlights for the first game. Looking forward to the second game, which will be a nationally televised game against Alcorn State. For Coach Dennis Roland, I'm Mark Verbois. See you next time.